Now this is a car deserving of a Toyota badge. The new RCR website is here. Sign up for exclusive brown, new video notifications, and special promotions here. Go to regularcarreview.com, click on Never Miss Another Regular Car Review, subscribe, and fill out the form. To submit your car for review, go to regularcarreview.com, scroll down, click on Submit Your Car, and fill out the form. Where's the merch? It's right on the front page. And thanks for supporting RCR. We finally got a press car! Only took 7 years. Give us more!
Uh-oh!
Oh.
Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Am I high centering?
Maybe, I don't think. I mean, if you really want to get through it, just gun it forward. And just go back. Yeah, now you got a hole you gotta overcome.
Oh, I dug a hole, didn't I?
Yeah. This stuff is especially just gonna keep digging in.
Yeah.
Might get you out. I cracked the one in that mud hole.
So,
Could be wrong.
That snow is kind of like mud. Yeah, you can dig yourself deeper.
Hello, 5th Gen 4Runner. Still at it, huh? You began in 2009, and apart from facelifts, you're still the same. Same V6, same gearbox, same bouncy truck body. Same high and low range gear selector that shakes as you drive, which I'm all about because it means that this is a real mechanical lever. This is a TRD Pro model in Lunar Rock. Kind of looks like an ammo can. It has full navigation, sound, a top cargo rack, a TRD skid plate, TRD black wheels, TRD exhaust. It's got rubber cup liners that cling to my water bottle and then come out when I reach for my water. It has Logic HVAC controls that ask you to take your eyes off the road to dial in the heat. And this is a $52,000 SUV that's not really fast on the highway. And oh, the TRD exhaust makes a droning sound every time it drops out of overdrive to pass someone or climb a gentle rise. And it's going to do this all the time. And I kind of get why Toyota offered this exhaust on the 4Runner, because the 1GR FE 4-liter V6, it's a fine engine. It's open deck. Okay, it's a fine engine and it's open deck, but it still has high temperature insulators wedged in between the cylinders and the block wall. So why didn't you just make a closed deck? You had to make up the difference. I mean, for my money, closed deck is always better because more metal means more better. Anyway, what I'm saying is the 1GR FE never sounded meaty ever in its life, and any attempt to augment it just makes it sound like a ratty Honda. But you paid money for your TRD Pro, and the truck looks meaty, so you gotta have it sound meaty. Who is the TRD Pro 4Runner really for? It's for 3 different groups. Number 1, Toyota nerds who have to flex with the new Yoda every time they come out. And they're going back to the dealership to trade in the last greatest Toyota, and now they gotta get the latest one. And, oh no, every time it gets dirty, out comes the detail spray, and it's gonna never see dirt, and heaven forbid if it does, because, oh no, my resale. Group number 2, douchebags, who for some reactionary reason don't want a domestic 4x4. You rarely see these people. And number 3, active lifestyle types with you know who I'm talking about. Boring REI types. They own a Z-Pax tent, but they only sleep in their car. You can build a mean rig for $20,000, which will outperform this $52,000 TRD Pro, as evidenced here by Dante's XJ. But in order to do this, you have to put in the work and learn how to build an off-road truck. There are people, some people just want to tag along with their friends or do some mild off-roading themselves. And they're like, I just want to buy something right out of the showroom that's ready to go. And Toyota hears this and goes, all right, you got the money, we'll build you something. But in creating a factory off-roader, Toyota had to make some concessions. The TRD Pro isn't a good daily or a good commuter. The big fat tires give vague road feel, the lift makes it feel like you're driving baby's high chair, and the Fox racing suspension is very hard. The subwoofer takes up cargo space. That's not really an off-road thing, I'm just saying. And you must get running boards to prevent truck seat syndrome. The gloss black vinyl seats immediately show dirt, and this hood scoop is just here for you to look at. But the trade-off is the TRD Pro makes a dirt trail feel like pavement. That's where your $52,000 goes. Any schmo can put this in four-wheel drive high, set the drive mode, and just let her rip on a fire trail. A 4Runner TRD Pro is built to never see pavement again. It's a shame because the Toyota nerds are just going to keep this on asphalt and keep it buffed and clean, but this is the perfect truck. If I have a main point, it's this. The Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro is the perfect truck for the Appalachian Trail Southern Terminus Approach Road near Amacorola Falls, Georgia. Or is it Amacola Falls? Never been, but I know about it. I hear stories from Appalachian hikers that getting to the access road in a hiker shuttle, it's like some Ford Econoline van that's just riding up the approach road. The TRD Pro 4Runner would just smooth out that road perfectly, and it could run up and down shuttle hikers all day at full speed in comfort. That's the interesting thing. The TRD Pro is more comfortable in the dirt than it is on the street. But if you're looking at buying a 4Runner just for road use, just get the Limited. You'll be happier. Street tires and leather seats.
2021 Toyota 4Runner. As rocky as the experience of falling in love and staying that way. I've yet to meet a 4Runner I didn't enjoy. I've yet to find a scenario in which some secret, hidden part of me didn't want to own one, regardless of whether or not it made sense, because sometimes we owe ourselves bad decisions. It would make no sense for a city boy like me to own a Toyota 4Runner. But would I consider it? Absolutely. Although to be fair, I'd consider most things. Pickles and peanut butter, why not? M&M's on pizza, I mean, bit of a harder sell, but I'm here for a good time, not a long time. A date with your summit girl to an antique flea market that sells a booklet of 14 selected views of the Pennsylvania Turnpike? When in Rome, am I right? Forget about the stars. When people fall in love in Pennsylvania, it's written in the potholes. But just because I could own a 4Runner doesn't necessarily mean I'm the right person for it. And in some cases, a lot of 4Runner owners aren't, because they aren't adventurous types who are going to push this to its reasonable limit. Which is not to say every vehicle should be treated that way, but rather that it feels like a lot of this car's prowess is being left on the table. And for what? The new school of 4Runner owners who are in love with the concept of having a great big Toyota for flexing on 183? Toyota 4Runner. For the man who hasn't been in the same room as a pair of underwear since 2001. Now, this paint is a mix of olive and drab and battleship gray, but it's neither. It's called Lunar Rock, which is fitting because in Pennsylvania, the potholes really make you feel like you're on the moon, taking one small step for man and one giant leap for the content. That's why you need something aggressively future-proofed against our deteriorating road infrastructure. Because driving around in a beat-up jalopy after a winter of snow chains having their way with the asphalt is more dangerous to your improved wellness than having cheesecake in the house. So you get a 4Runner, and at some point it becomes clear that this might be more car than any non-adventurous type could plausibly need. Yet it works, due in large part to how aggressively nice everything is. It's also comfortable and tactile, and it handles well, and it feels good to just be on the road in something that big. And look, I mean, the engine is what it is. It's the 4-liter dual overhead cam 24-valve V6 with dual independent VVTi, making 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque, and matched to a 5-speed automatic transmission with ECTi. This, in addition to running on a part-time 4-wheel drive system with active track, which will automatically increase traction when it senses the 4 wheels giving way on slippery roads. Now, we took this up into rocky Pennsylvania terrain on a rainy day, and it's basically like returning to the area outside Midgar in Disc 3. Those enemies were formidable when you were trying to catch that chocobo to cross the marsh to avoid the Midgar Zolom. But in Disc 3, you could probably one-shot that bastard with the right setup, and it's the same deal with a 4Runner. Potholes are all one-hit kills in this thing. The damage from using steel is probably enough to take us to the victory animation. But while this handles very well and offers up a satisfying amount of comfort, there's also something that feels very... what's the word? It's something very corporate about it. It's very designed by committee in its feeling, but maybe that's just because it's so new, you know? And even if it is a corporate amalgam, at least it's not as corporate as chain restaurants coming up with increasingly embarrassing ways to make its employees wish patrons a happy birthday. Because Philip isn't a singer, but damn it, his entire shift is going to sing Camptown Races with all the lyrics replaced with birthday greetings until Ida feels good about turning 71. Now look, a Toyota 4Runner grants you access to new areas to explore, insert video game analogy. And in this process, you might be able to gain a newfound appreciation for a natural order to which you didn't previously subscribe. I mean, if I'm being honest, it all feels very transcendentalist. But transcendentalism is the filter we use to reconcile our lives not being all that interesting sometimes. It's the notion of looking at what this world gives us and allowing for that to be enough. We're encouraged to seek out the beauty of the natural world and to appreciate it, whether it's something we're naturally inclined towards or not. Because an appreciation for nature is one thing that people can't judge you for. And transcendentalism is not only about the innate goodness of nature, but the inherent value of self-reliance. Because that's another thing people can't really judge you for, if you think about it. Being able to take care of yourself, to not have to rely on the systems of a processed society to live your best life. To embrace individuality, freedom, and the self. And in so doing, recognizing that heaven isn't so far away. And that you don't have to die to get there. But in the grand scheme of things, adherence to a transcendentalist philosophy is predicated on the notion that you're willing to engage with what that philosophy offers. If you don't really care about being out in nature, if you don't really enjoy it, if you seek better community in others than you would find in yourself, then what's a 4Runner really going to offer you, other than more room to store all the Tupperware containers of commemorative plates that didn't fit in your storage shed, with the wax paper between each one so that the Charles and Diana 81 doesn't get scratched? Sure, you can engage multi-terrain select and crawl control, forge through the encroaching fog with the automatic high beams, but what does any of it really mean for people who aren't seeking that kind of experience? It'd be like home renovators building me a complimentary man cave for sports when I couldn't possibly care less about sports. And even if I were interested in getting into sports, there have been so many seasons already I'd never catch up. The 4Runner being targeted at the more adventurous, outdoorsy types is at odds with another aspect of literary theory that I think relates more directly to what the 4Runner is today. I know, it's a weird tangent to go on, but I promise this is going somewhere. You see, it's called New Criticism, and its central thesis is really just a hoity-toity way of saying not to judge a book by its cover. The reputation of a thing has no basis on its current form. I mean, maybe you were the kid who, pissed his pants in gym class in 5th grade, but now you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, in which case, welcome to our channel. Thanks for watching. Now, whether you pissed your pants or not is completely immaterial to your present value as a human being. Through New Criticism, the history of the book or its author doesn't really play a role in how we evaluate that work. In much the same way, the previous context of the 4Runner and its long history as an outdoorsy multi-tool of a car doesn't really matter to what it is now. We can do a close reading of its various elements to come to a conclusion with regards to what it represents, what its value is in the present era. And at least for me, I feel like its value is derived through appearances as much as through function. I look at the TRD Pro features like the rigid high-performance LED fog lights, the 17-inch TRD Pro flow-form alloy wheels, the Nitto Terra grappler tires, the TRD Tune Fox shocks and spring, the badging and all-weather floor liners, and stamped aluminum front skid plate. And I look at all of those features and come to the provisional conclusion that the 4Runner maintains the grand tradition of an all-terrain legend. But if I look at other aspects, like, its comfortable ride quality, which I talked about earlier, or its storage space, or its aesthetic appeal, or its modest fuel economy, which is 16 city, 19 highway, and 17 miles per gallon combined. If I look at all of those things in totality, I might come to the conclusion that its value rests in being seen driving it, and allowing others to fill in the blanks as to what your life entails that would require you owning this much car. And here's the thing. Without the context of the previous 4 generations of 4Runners, who's to say this isn't simply a big old car for lugging stuff around? Who's to say your mom wouldn't be just as interested in a big, roomy, high-riding Toyota as your cliff-jumping best friend from college with no kids and no student loan debt? If anything, it feels like 4Runners, while more capable than ever, are designed to appeal to people who have no real desire to take these anywhere farther than the local Denny's at 10 a.m. and then again later with a date at 8 p.m. And to have the freedom to know that encumbrances like snow and sleet and rain and just intractable road conditions won't impede those efforts. So I guess ultimately it's less a case of the transcendentalist imperative of self-reliance and respect for nature coming home to roost, and more a case of close reading revealing the freedom to not use it at all for the needs it may have been created to fulfill. Because, in a very New Criticism sort of way, what it's intended to do isn't even set in stone. We don't judge books by their covers. We crack them open and travel the pages. RCR Toyota.